Hey, first of all, huge acknowledgments. You guys killed it last week. Nearly $300,000. Give yourselves a big round of applause. And dude, Elijah, a new PR, $46,000. And Kelly, so new, $17,000. Give them a huge round of applause. Why do we celebrate numbers? Like, why do we why do we do this?
Because we want more of it.
Because you want more of it? What's the other benefit of understanding and celebrating numbers?
It lets you know where you're at.
Lets you know where you're at. What else?
Gives us a goal that we want to shoot for.
Gives you a goal. What else?
They don't lie.
They don't lie. Data doesn't lie. You want to know why most people will never live more than an average mediocre life? It's because they have goals and they don't have data. And this allows them to hide.
Can you imagine a basketball game where they didn't have a scoreboard?
Yeah, it'd be so weird watching a basketball game. We're like, oh, root for your favorite team. Who do you think deserves the cup? It would be really, really bizarre. So anytime you look at by the way, the people that you admire the most in life, like it doesn't matter if they're an athlete, it doesn't matter if they're known for business or spirituality, toss out some of the names of the people you know where you're like, that's a mentor, or I'm a fan of that person, or that's someone that I look up to, that's a role model for me. Who are some of the names?
Andy Frisella.
Andy, what else?
Marianne Hickman.
Hickman, what else?
Tony Robbins.
Tony Robbins, what else?
Ed Milet.
Ed Milet, what else?
Kris Krohn.
Kris Krohn, what else? Come on, keep them coming. That guy, what else?
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk. So all of these people are not known for adjectives. They're known for numbers. Like Max and I are tag teaming right now. McGee, right? Was it? Was it? JaVale McGee. 3 times NBA champion, just traded to the Mavericks for the next, how many years? He has a $20 million, for the next 3 years he has a $20 million contract. We're on the phone with him talking about the Investors Club and maybe also being a keynote speaker. The reason why we celebrate people is not for the adjectives, but for the numbers. And when people hide in life, it's because it's scary to measure your life based on numbers. Because if you do and you don't hit the number, what does it mean? What are we really afraid of? Dude, we're afraid that we suck. That it'll be more evidence. Because by the way, in life, do you start out as a rock star or do you have to build yourself into a rock star?
Build yourself.
Which means that in the building process, before you can get good at anything, you have to what?
Suck at it.
You have to suck. So when you suck and you're looking at the numbers, what are you actually training often? A low number means bad juju. And I'll only allow myself to celebrate and stop hiding when my numbers are what?
High.
When my numbers are really high. Well, this creates a catch-22 in life, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because most people will never get out of the starter phase of the data that they need to measure and face to get good at anything. And you guys know me. We believe that your personal successes are just as and often more important than your professional wins. And I like to measure those in 3 major areas of life. What are they? Health, wealth, and relationships. So basically, here's what I've learned about being a human. Like outside of this company, outside of social media, outside of writing books and doing all the things that I do, I know that at some point I'm going to die. We all know this, right? And when I get there and when I get old, by the way, before you die and you get old, guess what happens? Energy, is it high or low?
Low.
Is disease high or low?
Low.
High. Like before you go out, your body moves slower. You're less significant. It's not like, there's very few people that are like Warren Buffett that can be 80 whatever years old and still like have huge impact in the world. Which means that there's a good chance that the last 1 or 2 decades of your life, people aren't going to care very much about you. You may not have that big of a legacy. Your kids are too busy and grandkids to come in and stop in and say hi all day long. And how many of you know old people that, frankly, it looks like their life kind of sucks? Be honest. I live every day with a certain amount of fear that motivates me that when I'm old and decrepit, that I don't want my life to suck. So how do you have a life of meaning in the end? Well, I think it requires us to have a life of meaning before you get to the end. And I think we're going to reflect back and say, well, ultimately, whether I love my life or don't feel good about my life depends on how I felt the entire time. Oops. There are 3 areas of life that I should be measuring and growing every single day. And if I'm not, I'm hiding. Am I growing my health every day? Meaning, am I getting stronger every day? Everyone in this room is at an age where you can get stronger every day still. Raise your hand if you know this to be true. Yep. So by the way, if you're not investing today in your health to do something to get stronger, I got news for you. You are weaker because life is a conveyor belt moving backwards. And that means that if you don't do something for your health today, that you run the risk of that being your destiny. And there's a lot of people that do that. Relationships. How important are relationships to how you feel in life? Hugely important or not important at all? Hugely. Let me tell you about people I know that are alone and isolated, and they lack people to love them or people for them to love. These people privately suffer depression, and sometimes they check out early of life. Relationships are hugely important because we're social creatures. We're not isolated creatures. And then lastly, finance. Every day you're either financially stronger and fitter, or you're financially weaker. And you can only get stronger in these three categories if you're measuring the right things. And then when you suck at them, that you have the ability to interpret them the right way. The reason why people never move from average and mediocre to greatness is because they're afraid to measure. They're afraid at what the numbers will mean. And today I hope to give you a secret that can help you out of that. Because right now, I can tell you some, Elijah, Kelly, Max, and Ryan, they're not hiding. We're acknowledging them and we're celebrating them. Please celebrate them one more time. They've been crushing it. Well, the truth is there's a way for you to live your life in a way where every day, by the end of the day, you can celebrate that you got stronger in your health, your relationships, and your finances. And I'm going to break these down in a way that I've never broken them down before because it's part of a new book that hasn't been released yet. And I'm going to help you map out time in the most meaningful way possible. You're going to want to take notes like crazy. Because what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to share with you, I believe, the secret to having the most fulfilling life. There are things in your health, in your relationships, in your finances that you need to make time for every day. And if you don't, then it means that you're slacking. And if you slack long enough, you're going to wake up to a wild amount of regret saying, oops, I should have, could have, but I can't anymore. So what do I do about it? So I'm going to break these down. I'm giving you two verbal. You got to keep up. We are recording, so don't raise your hand and say slow down because I'm not going to slow down. Let's talk first about relationships. There is time every day that you should put into the relationship with the most important person on this planet. Who is that?
Significant other.
Some people might argue that it's your significant other, but I promise you, your significant other is not the most important person on this planet. By the way, can you control your significant other? Yes or no? No. You can't. So by the way, they're like every other human being on this planet in that way that you can't control them. The only person that you can't control is who? Yourself. So I'm going to give you the 7 right now in order of sequence of hierarchy. Number 1, you have to invest something into yourself every day. Number 2, then, you have to invest something to you and God. Why is God second? Because if you don't believe in you, God can't believe in you either. You can believe in God all you want, but if you don't show that you believe in yourself, if you don't have self-belief, it doesn't matter. So you got to start with you. For me, I go to God. Number 3, I go to my spouse, the love of my life. Then I go number 4 to my immediate family. Number 5, what do you call your external family? The non-immediate. Thank you, extended family. Then you go to number 6, your community. And then number 7, you go to strangers. And here's what it means. There is an amount of time every day you have to put into you or you will be weak. True or false?
True.
And by the way, there's different ways for you to do that. For me, I do that when I go to the gym in the morning. I do that when I meditate. I do that when I do breakthrough. I do that when I invest in an audiobook. All of that is for who? You. That's all for me because this is my way of investing in who? If you don't like your life, there's a good chance you might be leaving you out of it. So start with you. Next, what does it look like for you to honor your relationship with your maker? What that looks like, there's a bare minimum. There's minutes, by the way. Just like there's minutes on me. This is why it's called an energetic time map. There's an amount of time. So for example, if I know that I need 90 minutes of time every day for Kris Krohn to make himself ready for the day to be who I am, and I give myself 60 minutes, where am I going to be? Scarcity or abundance? Scarcity. By the way, me and scarcity, is this a pretty thing? No. This is an ugly thing. By the way, if I know that my time mapping minutes are 90 minutes, then I have a responsibility every day to feed the beast, me, with how many minutes? 91. 90 is the line of demarcation between scarcity and abundance. You want to be in abundance. Figure out what you need and give yourself just a little bit more. Trust me, a little bit more feels great. My relationship with God, I get to define what that means. And then it'll all come down to minutes. Did I put those minutes in? Did I give less than those minutes? Did I give more than those minutes? I'm just going to tell you that if I put in less than those minutes and I'm ignoring that relationship, there's a cost to that. And that cost is scarcity instead of abundance. Number 3, my spouse. What is the amount of time, if you have right now currently like that, raise your hand if you've got that current special loved one in your life. Some do, some don't. If you do, there's an amount of time that you need to invest, because love is spelled T-I-M-E. There's an amount of time that you have to invest to go from scarcity to abundance. My wife and I, we spend 2 hours every single day together. For some that's a lot, for some that's too little. I'll tell you that on the day I put in 60 minutes, my day doesn't feel satisfying because so much of what I do is for my wife. But if I put in 2 hours and 10 minutes, 3 hours, dude, I feel great. So I have to know what that is to be able to do that. My kids, I have a definition of what I want, and it takes time to invest in my kids every week. And that starts with how I have breakfast with them. It's the kind of meaningful conversations. Did we laugh or cry? Did we create a meaningful moment? Did I look in their eyes and tell them that I love them? Did I really mean it? Or was it just a flirtatious word? So there is something for your kids. There's something then for your external or extended family. There's something for your community. By the way, I spend an hour a day on my community. The people I do breakthrough with, the people that are losing weight right now, the people doing physique competitions, fitness competitions, bikini competitions, I basically average an hour of breakthrough a day, which is my way of giving back. I don't get anything in return other than just knowing that if I want to, at the end of my life, feel that I gave a life of service, then I have to what along the way? Serve. And there's a minimum amount of time that service needs to look like. And when I don't serve enough, then I'm living too much of a what life? A selfish life. So there's an amount of service. So this is part of my time mapping. Strangers. I've got a goal every day to make someone I don't know smile. It's probably stupid by some people's standards, but it's meaningful to me. If I can have an interaction with someone I don't know and create value even in a moment, which only takes usually less than 5 minutes, that's me just saying, hey, when I'm interacting with all the people I don't know, I can trust me to show up in a meaningful way. So those are the 7 things I invest in every single day. Some of them are measured daily, some of them are measured weekly, some of them are measured monthly. But I know what the minutes are. And by the way, if I want to know whether I got my minutes or not, where is it reflected? It's on my calendar. Okay. If I do these, if I serve in the way that is right for me, these 7 groups in this relationship hierarchy, and if I serve them with the minimum number of minutes and then go above and beyond, where will that put me? Scarcity or abundance? Abundance. By the way, when I'm in abundance, how does it feel? Great. When you're in abundance, how does it feel? Awesome. Your job is to put yourself in abundance. It's not happenstance. It's not luck. It's a choice. It's a what? Choice. So you do that with relationships. Health. I've got 4 metrics when it comes to health. The first one is exercise. There's 2 forms of it. There's cardio, where I'm working out my lung capacity, my heart rate, and those are the 2 main ones. So there's cardio, then there's going to the gym and exercising. By the way, I believe everyone should go to a gym for the purpose of putting on muscle. And not to be a bodybuilder, but you all have a body and you should be building it. So why should everyone be interested in having an extra 5 or 20 pounds of muscle? Why?
Higher metabolism.
Because you get a higher metabolism, and metabolism is your base metabolic rate. And there's people that will do yo-yo dieting, and like, oh, it didn't work for 3 weeks, boom. They don't understand that every time they yo-yo and fail, they lowered their metabolic rate, because in a crash course diet, you're not just losing fat, you're losing what? Muscle. They don't understand that the secret to winning in health is to actually gain. You need 5, 10, 15, or if a man, 10 to 20 extra pounds of muscle, because every extra lean pound of muscle mass burns an extra 20 to 40 calories a day. So if you have an extra 10 pounds, there's an extra 300 to 400 calories that you can eat, and your body's going to eviscerate that instead of pushing it to fat. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
So by the way, when I go to gym, I do my cardio. You can do some joyful movement of your version of cardio that works for you. And then number 2, I got to work out my muscles. The third thing is my eating. I've got to eat in a manner that understands what my metabolic rate is. If I'm building muscle, that I need to put a certain amount of protein in, and the food that I eat should honor me. It doesn't mean that I don't get reward meals from time to time. It just means that they're planned. They're what? Planned. And if they're not planned, I promise you, you're pounding calories that you don't need. Wake up in 3 months and you're like, ooh, how did this bulge get there? Well, you put it there because you weren't conscious and aware, because you didn't map out the time that you needed to do these 3 core things. The fourth and final one is just joyful movement. How do you use your body in a way? How are you leveraging your body to do something meaningful in life? Some people love skateboarding. Some people want to go biking. For some people, it's a sport. For some people, it's just being able to take a hike or a walk or just be outdoors or whatever. Might be literally meditating out in the sun. But you should be doing something where you're celebrating the use of your body in a way that feels good. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So by the way, I time map these 4 things. How many things? 4. 4 things on my health. If I make time for the 7 types of relationships, if I make time for the 4 bits of health, that is 11 of the 15 things that I need to know that I've invested in myself and I'm not hiding because it's all measurable in terms of time. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Last one is finance. There are 4 things. How many?
4.
There are 4 things that you got to do with your finances. Number 1, you should have active income goals. What kind of goals?
Active income.
Number 2, you should have passive income goals, meaning this is where my money works for me. The third one is resource allocation. It is a side form of investing. When you save money, by the way, raise your hand if you know that a big part of financially succeeding in life is you got to learn how to save money. Raise your hand if you know this. You've been told that you're saving money so you can invest it and make money work for you. Yes?
Yes.
Here's what you haven't been told likely. You're not just saving money to invest. You're saving money to delegate other tasks to other people so that you can reclaim minutes and joy. For example, do you think Kris Krohn prepares his food?
No.
Do I go to the cleaners?
No.
Do you think I clean my house? Do you think I organize crap?
No.
It's not that I'm lazy, it's that I value recovering those minutes. One of my original impetuses, or impeti, for making money was not just to invest. It was to set some of it aside to free up my minutes that were used on all of the crap of life, which is why I hate owning stuff and I love accessing stuff. I don't own a lot of stuff. I own my house, I own my vehicles. I don't own a lot of toys. Right? When I went to the Galapagos, I did take a private jet there, which is an asset because it makes me money. But then when I rented the $75,000 yacht for the week, I didn't want to own a yacht. That wasn't my yacht. I'm not going to yacht more than one time a year. What a waste of time when really $75,000 is a lot, but it's a lot better than buying a $5 million yacht. Raise your hand if you understand this. Yep. I'm paying 75 grand a premium rate so that I can access, because otherwise, guess what I'm doing with my $5 million instead of owning a yacht? I'm making money with it in more effective, efficient ways. Does this make sense?
Yes.
So resource allocation means you're not just saving money to invest it, make your money work for you. You also should spend a little bit of it to reclaim some time. Max is a team leader. I have a rough idea of how much money this guy makes a year. And if he were to spend $25,000 of it to hire people to do a list of all the minutiae in his life he doesn't want to do, he would likely free up several hours every week. And Max has a choice. He can work, by the way, his earning potential is so high, he could either work more and earn more because he's made his time more valuable, or he could just spend more time enjoying his life doing joyful things. And you could argue, but couldn't Max invest that $25,000 extra? I'm like, he could, but remember, you're not going to judge your life on your deathbed by how much you have in your bank account. You're going to judge your life on how good you feel about your life. And how good you feel at the end depends on how good you feel every single day. The fourth and final thing on finance, saving. Did we hit saving?
Resource allocation. Active, passive, and resource allocation.
Thank you. Active, passive, resource allocation, and the fourth one is putting energy every day into saving. How can you be removing money from things that are no longer giving you joy and either saving them for something smarter? These are the 4 financial activities. So there's 4 for health, there's 4 for finance, there's 7 for relationships. You add all of those together and you get 15 things that you should time block for. Now in your calendar, every day or every week, if you know how you're gonna cut up time to hit these things, guess how you're gonna feel at the end of the week if you're in abundance in all 15 categories. How should you feel?
Amazing.
You should feel amazing. Got news for you. People have lower or higher closing rates based on how they personally feel about their life.
Higher.
If you feel successful, do you close more people?
Yes.
Jason, who's closed probably $100 million plus in deals. Jason, when you feel good about your life, did your closing ratio go up or down? Yeah, so it's all about how you manage your personal psychology. My personal psychology is just a byproduct of how I spend my time. I mastered the game of time a long time ago so that on my deathbed and long before I would be enjoying my life, and I'd love how I feel at the end when I'm old and decrepit and could celebrate all of the practices I put in place. I've given you 15 things to measure. How many?
15.
Some of them require 2 minutes here, some of them require 10 minutes there, some of them require 2 hours here. If you can get all your active income time earning in, but balance all of these things in time, you will feel so good about your life. Your body and your health will improve, your relationships will grow, your finances will grow, but most importantly, you'll have the most important asset under control, not just time, but how you feel about how you spend your time. So here's the lesson. Stop hiding. If you're not measuring in these categories, then you are inadvertently hiding. And if you're hiding, then it means that bad things are happening to you that you're pushing away and repressing, And eventually there's D-Day. Weeks from now, months from now, years from now, something's going to come knocking on your door. It could be a fat suit. It could be a spouse that wants to divorce you. Something's going to come knocking that says, you should have invested in me. You should have taken care of me, and you were too scared of failing, so you ignored it. And that's why you did fail. You must measure what's important in life if you want to grow your life. Raise your hand if this makes sense. Poke your neighbor in the shoulder and say, this totally makes sense.
This totally makes sense.
Poke your other neighbor and say, I love my life.
I love my life.
All right, guys, just a couple more minutes. Practical application before I bail, because I got to give it up to Marianne and the team here because we got some things to cover in this meeting. The reason why I shared this with you is why. Help me understand how this relates to your personal success and you growing yourself financially. How does this relate?
Because if we feel better about ourselves and our time, we're going to perform better at work.
I care so much whether you go to the gym or not. Because I know that if you go to the gym or if you eat right or if you take care of yourself, you're going to feel better. And if you feel better, then you're going to perform better. That is the bottom line truth of life. Why else are we having this conversation? How does this apply?
We'll perform better in our relationships as well.
If you perform better in your relationships as well, then we don't have drama basically screwing you on a Wednesday morning when you had a packed schedule and you had zero motivation to make your phone calls and perform well because things are sucking in at your home life. Is there a correlation? Yes or yes?
Yes.
What else? Why else are we having this conversation?
It builds your confidence, and that leaks out on the phone with your customers, I would say.
100%. It doesn't just build confidence. To build confidence, you have to build integrity. Building integrity means you knew what was important, then you did what was important, and you proved to yourself with evidence that you're capable of doing what matters in life, and that's what creates a confident person. A confident person, it's not luck, and it's not something that you can fake very well. Genuine confidence says, I actually have my stuff together. I know what's important, I measure it, I invest in it, and I'm succeeding. And now you have the right to celebrate, just like we're celebrating for Elijah and Kelly on their PBs, just like we're celebrating the MacBook winners of Max and Ryan Rice. And several of you need to be celebrated for what you did last week and the week before, but it's your job to celebrate your life every day. And I celebrate my 15 little baby wins every day. Because when I go to bed at night, those 15 little things that I put a little bit of time into here and there, what it adds up to is knowing that I won on what mattered most. I am wealthier, I am happier, I am healthier, and my life by design made it so, my choices made it so that confidence absolutely screams through. Two more major takeaways. I'm gonna make sure that we pause for those that are online, because sometimes the people in the live room get the first dibs. So please unmute yourself if you wanna share for you, what is your major takeaway from this conversation?
Kris, my major takeaway was that I can customize my life based off of my needs, and that it's okay that, hey, I'm making more money here and I want to invest in myself a little bit more, and I want to hire somebody to clean my house. I already got a personal launderer, and that's been helping give me more energy throughout the week, and it's been making me more money. But I can do those things, and that's totally okay, and it makes more sense to me now, so thank you.
You're welcome, guys. Give it up for Kate. Super awesome.
Just remembering that, as Kate's kind of saying, as you continue to build and create for yourself, like, it's not only, oh, I get to invest in yourself. No, it's a responsibility that we have to invest in ourselves. Like, for example, with fitness, I'm a trainer. Like, I majored in this. I know how to do fitness and food, but I just hired one of the trainers from Yo's team, from Coach Yo's team. I hired Peyton because I told myself I can do it, but it's been 4 months of me telling myself to get myself back into shape, and I haven't done it. And so I committed, even though I know what to do, I was like, I need to invest in myself, pay somebody to give me the accountability I need to do this, because it's my responsibility to protect my mental health and my physical health, to know that, like, I'm not doing it alone, so I need to hire somebody to do it and spend those resources and not be afraid to invest in myself.
Guys, give it for Elijah. Beautiful. I've got one final message that I just want to share with you on the way out. I am proud of you guys. I love this team. I love how you show up. The real reason why I'm sharing this with you today is not because I hope it leads to another great week or that our team levels up financially and gets better results. It's because I understand this one truth. People who have a philosophy that allows them to get it together will at some point grow so dynamically and so successfully that they'll finally shift out of a selfish life. And they can move into a selfless life where your impact in the world is maximized. The truth is, if you don't get a handle on your health, then you're going to be spending a lot of money on the back end trying to take care of it, trying to nurture it, or trying to get it where it needs to be. If you don't eat the right way, you're not going to have the energy that you need. And frankly, unfortunately, we live in a highly judgmental world. Who really wants to listen to someone that clearly on the outside, when you judge them, doesn't have their act together? In the relationships, if right now you're not investing enough in your relationship, and in worst case scenario, that puts you in divorce land, eventually that's going to become one of the great distractions of your entire existence, because you're going to have to figure out likely how to take care of 2 families, manage 2 sets of holidays. And everyone I know that's divorced, sometimes they're way happier on the second go around, but you don't erase the consequences of the past. And those consequences show up just about every single day, and they stay with you forever. So at the end of the day, if you're investing in your relationships, if you're investing in your finances, and if you're investing in your health, eventually what you suck at, you'll become good at. And what you become good at, you can master. And when you master those 3 areas, you cannot help but become naturally a person of influence that inspires and impacts other people, whether it's where you work, or maybe it's by money that you're able to give and donate, or it's some community service project, or it's the legacy of how your kids choose to live their life. There will be people impacted. And at the end, what matters most is not what we did for us. At the end, in the final stage of life, study all the psychologists. They'll tell you that you'll judge your life on your legacy and what you pass on. You're only going to have something to pass on if you pull your stuff together. You're only going to have something to pass on if you measure what matters. You're only going to have something to pass on if you know how to take care of yourself in those 3 areas of life. So do it for you. Do it to win. Do it to be successful. Do it to be your happiest and healthiest version of you. Because we all know there's a lot of garbage out there. When I was sitting down in a very small private mastermind meeting with Kevin Hart, and he said, I have a morning routine that reinforces positivity because inevitably negativity is going to meet me. And most days I can conquer it because I'm prepared. I'm asking you to make that a practice for your own life, to bring that positive reinforcement, that positivity that comes from making a whole lot of good choices in your health, in your relationships, your finances. You will become a top performer. You will grow in every area of your life. And then someday you get to know what it really feels like to impact a lot of people. Love you guys. Thank you very much.